I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace.
And we're the Disruptors.
Hey, welcome to the show, Bill.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you should be. It looks
I'm excited.
I'm glad to see.
I'm thrilled.
Kiba is growing.
Yes, we're growing by leaps and bounds. We brought in an executive-style producer that's learning the game of how to make the podcast sound good. He's with us
welcome
today.
to the show, Tom.
That's Nine Fingers Productions joining us today, and Candace is here, I think, and
well, occasionally.
And the producer of the great show is down below, chewing on her ear. Patty Pug is here.
That's it. She's got herself a little pig ear.
Yeah,
it beats maybe her snoring.
That would be much better. Yes. Yes, the CPAC machine made noise when we finally got the snoring under control.
That could be $1 million idea.
CPAC
for dogs.
Yeah.
It's just making sure they're wearing it up would be the problem.
Well, we're going to disrupt business today. And what part of the business world are you going to talk about today?
Well, going back and looking at different emails, we get a lot of different questions about what types of pillars or structures should be in a company.
Okay.
And so Wild Child, a long time ago, put together 12 core business pillars. And it's basically the different types of structures that need to be in play for any business. And it doesn't matter whether it's a franchise, license agreement, C Corp, S Corp, sole proprietor, or direct sales, MLMs. It doesn't matter. All of these need to be in play. And
that builds a good foundation for the starting of a business to make it profitable.
It does. So I'm going to go over those 12 core pillars today. We won't have much time to go into much detail with them, but at least so our listeners can write them down, or you could go ahead and contact us at wildchild.com. That's WLDCHILDGRP.com, wildchildgroup.com. Ask for your free 12 pillars of business, and we would be really delighted to go ahead and mail that out to you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah. Send me a copy, will you?
Okay, so our very first one is leadership. And leadership begins with you. What you want to do at the company, how you want to grow it. But you also bring all your fears and your successes and your failures all come to the table with you. And there's really just two things that a business leader, a CEO, should really concern themselves with, which will cover actually all of these core pillars.
Oh, good.
And that is to be the guardian of the mood and the mood. The guardian of the mood.
For the listeners' qualifications, could you define the mood?
Absolutely. So the mood is, if you have employees, is it a workable environment or is it hostile?
Oh.
Is it peaceful or is it crazy?
Yeah.
Do they like doing business with you? Are they enjoying that process? And then the architect of the future. So where you are constantly creating where the company is going, how the company is growing, which means how do you market it? How do you package it? How do you sell it?
How do you put it basically together then?
Exactly. So it covers all of it. So that's the architect of the future and guardian of the mood.
Now that we've got the mood and he's standing by the door we haven't built yet, let's continue on.
Are you wanting to take a class? Bill, is that what you're telling us?
I think maybe I better take a class in something, yes.
I think
I kind of like the mood part, though. I'd like to see what a mood looks like.
What is the tone of the company? Are your customers glad to purchase from you? So it covers both. The second one, and these are not in any particular order, but is branding.
That's always important. Developing
your brand with legacy in mind.
It's important because of the factor that the brand stays with you from the time you start until... as the company grows.
Well, your brand, remember, because people get branding and marketing confused all the time. So your brand is your reputation. It's what people think about you. And brand is not just a logo. It's your tagline, it's your outfit, it's your signage, it's, whether you have music going in the office or not. And I can go on and on and on with branding.
It's very important because even a good example would be Campbell's Soup. If you followed in the business world Campbell's Soup, the family's talking about selling it after all these years.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, and they have never changed the original brand on the can since they started in the 1800s.
That'll be a huge shift.
It will be a huge shift. And of course, through the years, the family has changed and the dynamics of the family changed. And now the grandchildren are looking at the cash flow, which unfortunately they're down this last quarter considerably.
So it's three generations?
It's 3 generations, yeah.
You know, that is actually the pivotal point of most businesses. And the reason being is because you've got, you know, the first generation that made the business.
Right.
You know, there's blood, sweat, and tears there.
Sure.
The children of that have watched the parents, you know, with blood, sweat, and tears.
Correct.
And they still have the buy-in. But you get to that third generation and there was no suffering.
No.
There was no sacrifice.
Very well off, yes.
And so businesses have a hard time surviving after 3 generations.
Which is amazing.
You know.
And I can't imagine a grocery store without Campbell's soup can in it.
Well, they're too large. I mean, they own Kellogg's.
They own several companies.
You know, right? Yeah. So you go in and it's massive. So anyway, getting back to branding.
Yes.
You know, what is your brand message? And so branding is
kind of important.
Number 2.
For sure. Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 is value creation. Say, what? Okay, so, you know, you don't just have to dream it, you have to empower it.
Mm-hmm.
So is the value of what you've put together good enough for the price that you're wanting to charge?
Gotcha.
And remember, it also comes down to perception, perceived value.
Different cars and different things have value. They've built into it as the years have gone by to make them number one, wanted by the consumer.
Absolutely. Well, here's the deal. You might make the best cupcake in the world.
Right.
But if the perception is that it isn't because of your packaging or because of your location or, I mean, I can go on and on, then guess what? The customer, you're not going to be driving sales. The customer's not going to be coming through your door because the perception isn't a good cupcake.
And it's overpriced and it's just not worth it, right?
That's it.
And a lot of people jump on that immediately. You're so right. Because they'll come in and think, well, I can buy that for $9.95, but it doesn't look like $9.95. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And then they walk out.
I was going to go to the grocery store, you know, buying food now that's up, 400%?
Something of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. But, you know, I mean, even when we look at food to buy, what are you purchasing?
Well, that's very true. And the competition, you know, Campbell's Soups, getting back to them, the biggest thing that hit them was everybody else, Progresso and everybody else came online with soups. And the noodles that you put in the water, okay, that cut into their industry.
If they're down in their sales, you know, I would also take a look at their marketing because marketing is brutal anymore, right? I mean, we've gone over this before, but, you know, growing up, we had 13 channels. And so we knew that we could
find our favorite show or have a variety of things to look at. It kind of gave you a variety, and you're right. The value, you have in mind a value of the show that you want to see. Hogan's Heroes. Way back when everybody had to watch Hogan's Heroes when it first came on. Then as time goes by, people, well, we don't really like that, but we'll go to Channel 7 because they got some other show or whatever. So you had a variety to work with of different values in the programming.
Absolutely. And the viewers are the ones that said, okay, this is what we want to go ahead and do.
Right.
And so, I mean, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, we got more channels because cable came on board and we had more variety.
Now we have YouTube.
Now you have 90,000 plus channels.
With no entertainment at all.
We're getting new channels all of the time. So how do you market?
True.
And your marketing is huge, which is one of the pillars is marketing.
Okay.
And we'll go over that in a second. But the next one is customer experience. You know, so you want to empower your customer to make the decision that leads back to you.
And today with high tech, that's really valuable.
It is huge. Building that content, constantly being fresh. You know, so you don't have to have a brick and mortar to be a multimillionaire.
Very true.
So what you have to do, though, is dial in that process. From before on your website, there's a whole entire different customer experience from your website to, you know, actually physically doing business with you. You don't have to have that storefront. You have a digital storefront, which for some companies is more important.
Very true.
So, you know, getting back to Campbell's, you know, how are they representing what they're wanting to grow? Well, chances are pretty good that they're not putting their marketing dollars that are actually seeing a revenue. Had a client that spent over, $17,000 on marketing one year, and they got $250 back. Why?
Not a good change.
Because they didn't do due diligence in finding out really, one, who their customer is. And marketing for a lot of people is basically throwing paint up on a wall and hoping that every drop sticks. Well, that isn't reality. And so really knowing where your tribe is at, so that you can market to that experience, so that gives them, it leads them back to you.
And the other important thing is in marketing indoor experiences now with customers is that Yelp and all these other people now give you the opportunity to air your ugliness or how excited you are over the product.
Reviews are important.
All over now.
How often do you read the reviews?
You get to the point where, personally, I go, if it's not 3.5, I don't go any further. I look for another area. Usually, a good example of this, not too long ago, there was a show on television. Whereas if a hotel or bed and breakfast got a 2.5, that automatically meant that they had bed bugs. And the service was not very good. And it was killing some of these smaller institutions because of the fact that maybe they didn't have bed bugs, but somebody was upset and just wanted to get even. Today, it happens in the restaurant industry all the time. I mean, that's a good restaurant entrepreneur monitors his social media continuously to find out what's going on. They're paying people to watch what's going on.
Companies can live and die from
by their reviews.
Absolutely.
Absolutely so.
You want that customer experience to be awe-inspiring, and it cultivates and creates loyalty. So I think we've talked enough about marketing.
Okay.
But you really want to...
What a strong pillar we presented there.
Yes. Well, marketing is huge because marketing is the vehicle for your brand. Getting what you're wanting, because it goes into really defining your customer acquisition costs. And a lot of startups don't worry about things like that, but really you should dial all of that in, especially if you're going for venture capital or angel investors.
Sure.
You should
going on that big Shark Tank show.
You should know your numbers, and there's a lot of things that you just should know. So anyway.
Not to have shark bait on your galoshes when you show up at the show is a good idea.
That might help.
Yeah.
Well, if you make it, because there's
the
over 35,000, I think they said 35,000 applicants monthly. So
those sharks are fat and sassy.
You're just kind of like, wow, that's just a sea of opportunities, right?
Yes.
Communication. So you need to find your voice and use it to change the world. By finding your voice, how do you communicate with your employees? How do you communicate with your clients? What verbiage are you choosing to use is really important. Matter of fact, when was the last time that somebody or you hired a company to secret shop that experience?
Wow, you got a good question there because nobody ever thinks of it anymore.
Well, they don't. And so, they can shop your website.
Right.
They can shop whatever your process is. And that feedback is so valuable. You're paying them to critique you. You're paying them to look for your gaps. And so what's important though, as you look at your communication, you just need to dial that in and make sure that you're sending out the right message.
And inspiring and positively to be a part of the company, the movement, to be proud of the brand and stuff of that nature, as for an employee should be, instead of one that's sitting there growling at people as they come in the door every day. Like yourself. oh, excuse me, yes.
There you go.
Please
growling.
Continue on, yes.
It must be because you drag your knuckles. I kind of decided that.
Well, it is. The asphalt's so hard on them. It's just woof.
I figured with the splinters, since we just fell all those trees.
Yeah.
You've now got splinters and you're grumpy about it. So the show is kind of wrapping up. So what I'd like to do is do a part 2 on this.
Well, we can do a part 2 for sure. And I'm positive that people want to know more about the 12 cores and the pillars that put business together.
So if you're looking for a copy, we would absolutely love to send that to you. And that is at wildchildgroup.com. So WLDCHILDGRP.com. And just put on there that you'd like your 12 core business pillars. And we'd love to send that out.
Have a great day, and remember, no matter how things get, always think positive and keep us smiling.